How you going, people? This was a pretty good video. This Sheriff Judge, is this Judge Dredd? Wasn't there a movie with Arnold or somebody? Judge Dredd, he shot up. Anyway, so this cop in Florida here is pretty funny. He says some things that I probably wouldn't say. He comes off a little unprofessional in some areas, but hey, he's speaking the truth. And he comes out pro-gun. So everybody heard about the Uber driver that, he picks up a fare. The Uber driver doesn't know who the fare is, but the bartender who put the fare in the Uber driver was trying to get rid of a drunk because they overserved her. She was too drunk, so they stick her in an Uber car. Meanwhile, the bartender is arguing with her boyfriend, mentions or says something about the Uber driver. So the boyfriend somehow thinks the girlfriend that he's arguing with is in the Uber driver. He comes up, cuts the guy off, gets out, says, "I have a gun." Uber driver shoots him. Shoots him graveyard dead right there and kills him. And it's justified, and this sheriff gives a press release, which is kind of funny.
We know that whenever people have had too much to drink, we tell them, call a taxi or call Uber. Don't drink and drive. Well, this all started at a bar or a lounge on Highway 27 in Dundee, where a young lady obviously...
Dundee? Is that Crocodile Dundee? Rick, listen. I'll just be quiet and listen.
Had way too much to drink. And her car was in the parking lot, and a patron and the bartender together said, "Hey, we got to get this lady home. She's in no condition to drive," so they called Uber. Uber arrives.
How did she get in no condition to drive? How did the bar serve her to where she was in no condition? Rick, that's not the point of it. Stay on point. Okay, I got it. I'm sorry.
The patron, the female patron in the bar, who we now know's name is Jessica.
Oh, she was a patron. I thought she was a bartender. My mistake.
Helps escort the lady we now know as Jasmine and put her into the Uber. The Uber driver leaves, and he is on his way taking her home in the vicinity of Winter Haven, Florida. During this period of time, and the conversation is between Jessica, who is at the bar, and her boyfriend, and you can tell they have a very rocky relationship here.
Let me translate that for liberals. Rocky means the relationship between refugees and people who have jobs and work and pay taxes. That's a rocky relationship. Liberals will be like, huh?
And the boyfriend is explosive. He's stalking his girlfriend. He's angry with her. And he tells her, quote unquote, "I'm going to F up the Uber driver." Now let's go back to the Uber driver. The Uber driver, knowing nothing about what's going on, because this conversation is between a guy, his girlfriend, who's still at the bar. So it's a little confusing, but it's really, he doesn't realize that Jason's girlfriend, Jessica, helped put Jasmine into Uber. Or Jessica or the Uber driver know each other. Jessica puts Jasmine in the Uber. Uber takes off toward Winter. Thinking his girlfriend is in the Uber, and you can see he texts. It's nice of him.
Who thinks he'd be holding his picture up like this if this was a black man? Rick, you can't say that. I'm just saying. When was the last time you heard somebody, you saw a sheriff hold up a black man's picture and call him an idiot? Not that I'm defending this guy. He's an idiot. He's dead. He took a bullet. No big deal. I'm not worried about that. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy of liberal media and liberal coverage.
Him to text his intent, talks about what all he's going to do to the Uber driver. Uber driver obviously has no idea.
This chief makes it sound like because he texted he was going to mess up the Uber driver, that makes the Uber driver's case stronger. It doesn't. It makes it stronger to where you have an idea on what the mindset of this guy is. The Uber driver did not know about the text, did not know about the threats, and did not know that this guy said he was going to F him up. So the fact that he texted all this has nothing to do. Now, this sheriff is giving all this information to the unknowing people and jurors and thinking, hey, this guy got shot because he texted and said he was going to F him up, and then he got out of the car with a cell phone and the guy shot him. That's not the case. The case is he got out of the car, said, I have a gun, don't make me shoot you. He made threatening comments and threatening moves, and the guy shot him first. That's the case. You can only justify force with information that you knew at the time you used force. So the Uber driver cannot say, oh, I shot him because I knew he was going to hurt me, and the text proved that. That's not true. He did text. He did say he was going to hurt you, but you didn't know that when you used the force. So big difference on here.
Until a Ford F-250 pickup truck pulls right up on his bumper with bright lights. The Uber driver says, I wonder who this guy is. The tailgates him a minute, then he pulls out beside him, rides beside him a couple of seconds on 542 or the Dundee Road between Dundee and Winter Haven, and then starts to pass him and forces him to a stop in the roadway. When he does that, Jason jumps out of his F-250 pickup truck and says, you know, I got a pistol. You want me to shoot you? That was a terrible mistake on Jason's part, because the Uber driver not only happens to be a licensed to carry a firearm, concealed firearm in the state of Florida, but he just finished the police academy. So he understands the law. You will see the video in just a second. So when Jason jumps out of his truck after forcing him off of the road, is rapidly approaching him and saying, I got a, what was it? I've got a pistol. You want me to shoot you? He's holding a cell phone in his right hand.
Did you notice he was reading that? He had notes on the back here. I mean, I'm not cracking on him because when you're giving a press release, you don't want to misspeak. So to put notes like that on the back chair, that's another reason he was holding the picture up, because he was reading notes. But you kind of gave away your prop, you big dummy. Nobody knew that till you laid it down and you glanced back down at it. Rick, you can't call him big dummy. He's a shut up, you big...
Hand coming up from his waist. When he does that, our shooter, Robert, who is an Uber driver, shoots him one time in the chest. And down he goes.
If he just graduated police academy, I'm not sure why he shot one time. People don't shoot one time. At a minimum, double tap. If you can triple or quadruple tap, one bullet rarely stops a guy. Don't use this as a test case saying, oh, I only got to shoot once and then I'll see if it works. Because when it doesn't work, the bad guy will shoot you 3 times while you're trying to figure out if your one shot worked. If deadly force is authorized, then use it to the fullest extent you can to stop that threat, or you may end up dead. Rick, you can't tell people, freaking idiots coming here. Green screen mall cop.
Then Robert immediately, the Uber driver, calls 911. He talks in police lingo, by the way. Hey, we need EMS, we need fire. I've shot one time. He threatened me.
So this sheriff says, don't mess with the Uber driver. It's not the Uber driver. You shouldn't be messing and threatening with people, because if they're armed, an armed society is a polite society. When people are armed, people don't act like this idiot. Had this guy who's dead known Uber driver was carrying a gun, he would not have got out and said, I had a gun. But because he thought he was dealing with a victim with no gun and he was in power, that's why he did. That's what bullies do. That's what people do. That's what gangs do. That's what teens do. That's what government does to unarmed victims.
Doesn't know the guy driving. She has no relationship with Jessica, who was just trying to be a good Samaritan. And at the end of the day, the message is clear. Don't mess with the Uber driver. Leave the Uber driver alone, because he just may be a certified police officer in waiting. And when you force him off of the road and threaten to shoot him with a gun while holding a cell phone in your right hand, which is a shiny object, in a second, you could get shot and killed.
So I'm glad that they're not going after this guy, and they're not trying to say he didn't have a gun and he shot an armed guy. Had he been black and an Uber driver did this, it would be poor teen with a cell phone is shot and killed by white Uber driver. But again, that doesn't fit the liberal left narrative on this case, so it's a good shooting. Man, I'm so tired of the lying fake media.
This is a justifiable homicide all day long. You have the right to protect yourself. A classic, and this was the intent of the law. Let me paraphrase. Uber driver's just doing his job. He has no clue in the world what's happening until a truck forces him off of the road. The guy jumps out and in seconds is on him saying, I got a pistol, you want me to shoot you? And he defends himself. Here's a message for the hotheads of the community. Don't do that stuff. Good people carry guns, and they will shoot you a lot. Graveyard dead. Leave people alone. It's a new day in the state of Florida and in the United States.
I love that. I love that he said, and that's what it should be in this country. Good people should be allowed to defend themselves, and bad people should be nervous to assault people, to rob people, to knock people down, to threaten them. Good people should not be the ones that are scared. In liberal land, in liberal ignorance world, bad people should be protected. Bad people should be allowed in the country. Bad people should be given status and government assistance. Bad people should be protected. And good working people should just be a source of taxes that we can take from you to give to the bad people. That's liberal land. In common sense land, good people should be the ones that are armed and able to defend themselves against bad people. Let's take a look at the video. Okay, so Uber driver doesn't know he doesn't have a gun until he kicks it out of the way. He thought it was a gun when it fell, and he shot the guy. He kicked it, and he made a mistake and go, holy cow, it's a phone. But it doesn't matter. In his mind, his fear was reasonable. Take a look at this video. Okay, right here, when this car pulls over in front of you and stops you, that's some places they call it kidnapping, some places they call it false imprisonment. He's blocked your path and he's affected your free movement and he stopped your ability to leave. Could the Uber driver have put a car in reverse and left? Yeah. If this was a black guy, that's probably what they'd be saying. Why didn't the Uber driver put his car in reverse? Why didn't the Uber driver leave? Why didn't the Uber driver drive around him? Why did the Uber driver just wait for him and shoot him? But because this isn't a color issue, we're just dealing with the facts, reasonable and common sense, how everything should be dealt with. This is a good shoot because there's no color involved, only white people.
I say something?
That's how fast it happened.
So, who thinks that was a good shoot? I mean, it happened quick. The sheriff kind of said it's good. Can the DA say, I don't believe that? Yep. Can the Department of Justice from the state of Florida come out and go, you know what, we think you're wrong, we're going to charge him? They can. But will there be riots and Black Lives Matters and parents crying that he was about to go to doctor school? Probably not. So this case will be a closed case. And that's the Uber driver who went to the police academy and shot a guy with a phone. Well, in that there,